Hello, and welcome to the 10 Time Morning Show where we discuss everything about raising genius kids. My name is Chris Obike, and today I am your host. Today we'll be talking about what happens when a child has no routine, and I'm going to be sharing a couple of you. Right, I'll share a couple of real stories with you. But before then, let's do a quick recap of everything that we discussed last week. So, on Wednesday, which was the beginning of the week in my books, we talked about why smart kids still struggle. And we talked about how it's not intelligence, how rather it's because of their executive function. And then on Thursday, we covered the attention gap, and kids today, they can't focus the way that they used to. It is real, it is measurable, and it's affecting everyone, even you, right? And so yesterday, Abby, on Friday, then we talked about systems versus motivation and why you need to stop chasing motivation and start building routine. Okay, and today is a storytelling day. Today is storytelling day. I want to tell you some stories of real families. Of course, obviously, I've adjusted their names and all of that, but and their details as well for privacy. But these are actually real children that we've worked with, and they all have something in common. They all have something in common. None of them had a routine at home. Are you excited to hear? Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chats. Okay. Let me know. 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 Good. All right. So the first child in question, this was a 7-year-old, right? A 7-year-old who was incredibly intelligent. When I spoke to the mom and I spoke to the son, I was like, what? He could talk about anything, he could problem solve, he could reason through complex situations, but he couldn't start anything on his own. Nothing. And his parents were baffled because starting should be easy if the rest is there, right? This child had never had a routine. The mornings were chaotic. He didn't have a bed time that he went to bed. He didn't have the time that he woke up. The mornings were very chaotic, and anytime he woke up, that was when breakfast, and then school happened whenever. Home time was the same, inconsistent, no predictability. And so this child's brain was always in a state of what's happening next, trying to figure out what comes after this, trying to prepare for whatever comes next, because nothing was just predictable. And that constant state of trying to predict what's coming next uses up his cognitive resources. And so, how could a 7-year-old be literally, like, each time you talk to him, he's so lost, he's burnt out, right? It's like keeping your system. So what cognitive burnout means is like your nervous system is in a low level state of alert. So like it keeps worrying about the wrongest things. Like it keep instead of channeling it to the part where it actually needs to go, the part where it can actually create or use you can use it for more high level stuff. It takes some time that you are normally supposed to use to do important things. And so like the child's brain was always in this state because nothing was predictable. So that constant state of trying to predict what was coming up was using all his energy. There was no bandwidth that was left for actual work. So when we said go do your homework, the child could not initiate, not because he couldn't do it, because there was no mental space. The brain was exhausted from uncertainty. And what we did was that we kind of restructured the entire thing. We built predictability. We built predictability. This is what you do. You have to wake up by 6 a.m. in the morning. When you wake up by 6 a.m. in the morning, by 7 a.m., this is you should have started doing this. By 8, you are already in school. You come back by 4 p.m., you sleep by 5 p.m., by 6 p.m., you have your study time. By 6:30, you have your play time. By 7:30, you have your dinner. 7:30 to 8 p.m., you have maybe your time, alone time with your mom or your dad or your siblings. Basically, like that's how structured it. And then by 8, you're in bed. to go again to wake up by 6. And that was what we did, right? In the beginning, it was very hard. It was very hard because this same child had not doesn't had or hadn't had any sort of predictability before, right? It was terribly hard, but then it got easier, it got better. And so before we knew what was going on, he stuck to the routine, and we've been following that, we've been using that ever since. And so this same boy, what happened was that we started seeing a lot of manifestations because he now started having more things to do with his brain. His brain was now more consolidated on the work that actually needs doing. And before we knew it, because he knew that this was a routine, boom, didn't have to think much about it. He would go and do it. And so that's one thing that happens that cripples a lot of smart children without having that don't have a routine. So I hope that this shows you like that it's not about smarts. Sometimes it's about like the system that you've thrown your children in. What routine do you have in your home? Let me tell you a second story. So this second story is a 10-year-old is a 10-year-old girl who like only performed at school. At school, because school has structure. At school, everything was excellent. He focuses well, she focuses well, gets good grades, does what the teacher asks. But at home, she's a completely different child. And the reason for that is because both parents were extremely busy, right? The mom she had a shop, and so the mom left really early and came back really, really late. The dad, wasn't entirely around. Even when he wasn't around more or less. And so the child was resistant. She wouldn't follow instructions. Homework was a battle. Bedtime was chaos. And their parents were confused because at school, everything was fine. So what was wrong at home? And so what was happening was, like I said, school had structure, lots of it. There was bell rings, there was sit down, there was open books, there was do the work, and it happened every single time. So the child's brain was responding to the structure and thriving, whereas the home had no structure. So you could come home whenever, she come home today, they'll say, oh no, don't go home yet, you have to wait here. Like there was a lot of uncertainty and disruption, right? And there was nothing. So the child was not well behaved at school and difficult at home. The child was responding to structure at school and a lack of structure at home. And what structure and predictability, while they were working at school, the absence of it at home was causing stress. So you can see how, like, in fact, let me give you guys a clear understanding. Let me give you something that is out of my scope. Do you know that there's a reason why Nigerians, when they are in Nigeria, misbehave a lot? Like you can drive anyhow, you can litter the ground, you can jump queues and all of that. You can be doing, do you know who I am? But the moment those same Nigerians go abroad, those same Nigerians, they'll be the ones to file their taxes on time. They'll be the ones to like avoid parking tickets. They'll be the ones to pay their council tax. Like you'll see them and you'll be like, these guys are really upstanding citizens. But the moment they are back in Nigeria, everybody is mad again. Now, it doesn't just go this way because you will see like who are the most behaved people. I think the most behaved people in the world are Japanese guys. Japanese in their country, they're excellent people. They're excellent. But take that same Japanese, take that same Japanese guy and bring him to Nigeria. The moment he's crossing this airport here, the moment he's crossing it, he'll start behaving like a Nigerian. He will start doing those things that are outside of his nature to do. Why? Because the environment does not have structure, while this environment has the best structure. So structure is the thing that modifies behavior. I don't know if this makes sense. Structure is the thing that modifies behavior. Structure is not the people, it's the system. You can take the terrible person I'm putting them in a good system and they'll turn into a good person. And if you remove that same person and put them in a bad structure where like there's no structure, don't exist, then you will see them manifest. You see them again. Come out. Right? Let's talk about the teenager who suddenly failed. This guy was 14-year old, he had done well through primary school, he had good grades, he seemed fine. Then secondary school started and suddenly things fell apart. He started having a lot of field classes, he couldn't manage the workload. And his parents were shocked. They were like, this boy was a high flyer in primary school. What happened? And so we asked when the child had started having a routine at home. And they looked confused. They were like, what? What's the routine? And the child never had one. Never had a set wake up time, never had a consistent primary school. However, because through primary school, the child had coasted on natural ability, the tasks were simpler, the workload was lighter, his natural intelligence would carry him. But secondary school was heavier because now the complexity is bigger, the workload is bigger, the expectations are higher, you know, and you also see a lot of people who have food at home. What I mean have food at home, I mean people who like already as very smart, like the best people too from their individual schools. And so the you need systems, you need routine to manage the increase in demand. And this child did not have any of that. And so when the demands increased, the whole thing collapsed. And it looked sudden to the parent. But from where I was sitting, it was inevitable because the child was set up to fail because there was no foundation. Think about it. It's like you don't build your foundations correctly and just keep building your house. You're building a five-story building or 10-room duplex, but you do not spend enough time on the foundation. It doesn't matter what you do, that thing will come crumbling. It will come crumbling because that structure is not strong enough to carry it, right? And so that's definitely like what it happens. So I want you to take a charge. I want to take a charge today and think about, does my family have structure? I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and by now, honestly, you've not started thinking about this, then you are late, oh, right? You should start creating structure. In fact, this is one episode. Yes, I know I wrote share it with a parent, but don't share it with a parent. Not share it with a parent. Sit on it. Think about it. Like really take time to think about yourself. Think about your family. Do you have structure in your home? Right? Because while this might be someone else's stories, real life stories, the truth is that you could also relate. And so you want to think, how can I create this structure? What do I need to do to create structure? Because you might have a child who is in this exact situation or very, very close to it, but you wouldn't know. And so the fix is routine. The fix is structure, right? And so I hope that this helped you. I hope that this gave you clarity today. Congratulations on staying to the end. If this helped you, I said don't share it with another person. Watch it again. And tomorrow, I think from tomorrow, we're going to be going live at a later time, I think 8:30. And so we're talking about the three focus skills that every child needs, the three skills that they need, and all of that. And I also have a very special announcement for tomorrow as well. And so make sure that you show up at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. I'll see you on the inside. Have a great morning. All right, then, and I'll see you later.